Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I asked for suggestions regarding a podcast topic. One of you suggested I talk about marriages. It's an awkward suggestion, I won't lie. Maybe because I get too triggered by the topic, but I guess I could say a few things on it. Besides, these are just my opinions. None of these are being presented as facts, hopefully. And if anything offends you, I am sorry. My comments are open for discussions. We can share our points of view. So, whatever. Coming to the topic. Being the firstborn in a Brown family, the idea of marriage was introduced to me very early on in my life, and I honestly think it was a bit too early. I understand that parents have really nice intentions for the things that they do for their children most of the time, but they have to understand that their kids may or may not be mature enough to handle all that information at once. And for me being the 8 or 9-year-old at the time, it was a lot to take in when my mother said that I'll be living with my family for a limited amount of time, because after some point when I grow up, I will have to move away because I will get married, and then I will have to live with my in-laws and my husband. So, yeah, I did not want to leave my parents. I liked my parents, I still do. And just imagining that was enough to make me cry one night. I was crying. It was very weird. I was just imagining myself as a bride. I was very small at the time. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, I imagined myself as a bride, and I imagined leaving my parents, and I was crying that night. But उसके बाद फिर एक phase आया था. I guess we were in our O levels at the time, when there were jokes that अगर पढ़ाई नहीं होती है तो सब छोड़ो शादी कर लो. And there were also these memes that if a guy fails in his exams, there was this other photo of him doing something. Maybe he was cleaning cars or something, no offense. But if a girl fails her exams, the other photo showed her dressed up as a bride. So that's it. And I guess that indirectly gave the impression that if you cannot be well in your studies, the only option left for you is to get married, because you're not useful for anything else. Obviously, that made me focus more on my studies. It wasn't like I wasn't studying to get away from marriage. I loved studying ever since I was a kid. So, yeah, like the idea of marriage came later on in my life. Just imagine marriage as the annoying sibling that reminds you of their existence, but you don't want to acknowledge it. So, in our religion, marriage is a really nice thing. It's super simple. If you like someone, you ask your parents about it. Your parents approach that person. You talk about it. If it's all fine, if that person is good in religion, if they're a good person, you get married. And then you continue living your lives. Yes, you have responsibilities, but it's not the end of the world. And you can have a simple nikah, which is where you sign a legal contract and basically declare that you're husband and wife. And then you have a walima, which is the reception. And you invite a lot of people, and that's basically a way of telling everyone that you're officially husband and wife. And that is it. Then you get to continue life as it is. We don't have a very complicated system where the bride is supposed to serve the husband plus their entire family. And, it's not a compulsion for the wife to give up her surname. She can work if she wants to. She can, there's a lot of things that the wife can still do. In our culture, however, there is a lot of stuff that the girl has to compromise on. It's like you're saying goodbye to your home, you're saying goodbye to maybe your career. In some cases, you're even saying goodbye to your own identity. You grow up identifying yourself as a person You have your name, you have your identity, and then suddenly you're being forced to change your name and, identify as Mrs. your husband's name. Plus, you have to be in line with all the customs and traditions in our culture. So, I don't know. There's just so much that is wrong about marriages in the subcontinent. Like, then you'd have to have all these many celebrations. There's the Mehndi, where everyone just comes and dances, which is, I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is just my opinion on it. I would not like to put myself on display. And because we have so many amazing wedding photographers these days, it's like आप शादियों में अपने लिए तैयार होने से ज़्यादा और मतलब फैमिली मेम्बर्स के साथ रहने से ज़्यादा, it's like you're a product for those photographers so that they can advertise their services. तो मतलब शादी जैसा इंटीमेट फंक्शन पे भी आपके इर्द गिर्द इतने सारे कैमरामैन होंगे, you're dancing, those cameramen are revolving around you, and then they put up your videos on their public profiles and they use them in their advertisements, and everyone is watching them. People you don't even know are seeing them. And I don't know, I just find that slightly uncomfortable on a personal level. I would not want my looks. I wouldn't want that to be on display for everyone, even the people I don't know, even some people who might be creepy on the internet. And then obviously you see those marriage videos where weird accounts say things like, oh, mashallah, very pretty and stuff like that. I do not want that. So yeah, our culture wants us to invite people we do not even know. Like for your wedding, you'd have to invite your uncles and aunts, their kids, sometimes their kids, and then your neighbors, your friends from school, college, university, your parents' bosses, and their families as well. And I don't know. And then people who come tend to bring along other people you don't know. A showpiece for everyone to see and take photos of, take photos with. I honestly don't like that sort of attention, and thinking of all that makes me stress out. So yes, if I get married, I would want things to be simple. Yes, I have a lot of friends that I would want to have on my wedding day. So I am sure my wedding will have a lot of people because I have a lot of members in my family as well that I would want at the wedding. But then again, a part of me is just like, let me just have a small barbecue thing. I can dress up a little and look pretty-ish. But I would want it to be simple instead of having all those cameramen and unnecessary people just roaming around here and there with me sitting on the stage like an object more than a person. Like, I would want to sit with my family members, not in front of them, for people to just come up and take photos of me and stuff. I guess it's a thing when you're a teenager, your parents tend to mention it more. Okay, you're growing up, you have to learn certain skills in your life because they will help you in your quote-unquote new home. Or uske baad, after a certain age, like I guess I've crossed that age, so now the discussions of marriages are very, very frequent, and it gets awkward. Like, I know some people of my own age who have children, mashallah. They have daughters, and there are other people my age who are getting married very soon. There are others planning their weddings. There are friends who are getting engaged, and then you feel like maybe you're doing something wrong. You're not getting married, and it gets stressful sometimes. So And then people keep on mentioning it. People, including my own parents, they mention it a lot. Like whenever there's a wedding, they'll be like, "Oh, आपकी भी बारी अभी आने वाली है और कुछ टाइम बाद हम आपकी भी शादी इसी तरह कर रहे होंगे." And then when my siblings feel like teasing me, they're like, "Oh, हम आपकी शादी पे ये करेंगे and will annoy you so much and stuff." So there are some things you should not mention to people. For example, you should not ask students about their grades or people about their salaries or what they're doing with their life. One more thing in that list should be not asking people or not mentioning to people that they need to get married soon, because it gets annoying. Yes, marriage is sunnah. Yes, it is important in a lot of ways, but if you're making marriage so hard for people and it's so nerve-wracking for them, and if you've equated marriage with being unsuccessful in everything else in life, and so that you eventually get married as a means of escape, obviously no one would want that. So yeah, that's a couple of things that really need to change. और उसके बाद भी, like in the movies we see, for example in Disney movies, that's a very commonly quoted example, that you'd find the whole plot revolving around getting the girl and guy together. Movie के end में they're either getting married or they're finally quote unquote friends. लेकिन that is where the movie ends. That is the end of the story. You just have to get two people together. उसके बाद क्या होता है, no one tells you about it. How their life continues. Does their life continue? So, in a way, we're telling people that marriage is the ultimate goal. See what I say, when people get married and they don't know what to do next or how their lives will continue, it's frustrating and they kind of panic a bit because उनको नहीं पता आगे किस तरह काम करना है. Even though marriage can be such a simple thing, that's what I'm getting to again and again. लेकिन because we've specified कि नहीं, people should be of a certain age before they get married, और आपको कम एज में भी बच्चों की शादियां नहीं करवानी है, even though dating and all those other things are so prevalent, you wouldn't want your kids to be together in halal ways. You'd rather send them into co-education institutions where they can study all they want, but also get stuck in other traps. So that's why our society is somewhat messed up. Again, these are all personal opinions, and you are completely free to differ. That is fine. But since I was asked for my opinion, this is my opinion on marriages. Number 1, you should not mention marriage to very young children because that is just wrong. Let them have goals in their life. Mention that they need to get married, but don't rub it in their faces every now and then. And number 2, have simple marriages so that marriages do not become a burden for anyone and they're not very lavish or extravagant or unnecessary even. And number 3, marriages are not the end of the world. Life continues after marriages as well. We need to understand that. We need to live accordingly. Yeah, the person we marry we shouldn't marry people based on their looks or how much they earn or have in terms of wealth or whatever. They should be a good person, some person you can actually bear for the rest of your life, a person who might be a good role model for your kids, if you ever decide to have any, or a good parent for your pet cat or dog or parrot or fish or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, I guess that's it. Allah Hafiz.